All right, good morning, Nigeria, and welcome to another insightful edition of The Agenda, where we dissect the issues shaping our nation and even the world. I am Chike Obogo, bringing you unfiltered conversations on politics, society, and everything in between. So today, we'll be diving into a provocative topic. Yes, a very provocative one. And that is the concept of anarchical ideology and its survival in Nigeria. Is anarchy just chaos? Or is it a structured philosophy with roots that could challenge our very governance? Well, joining me this morning, political ideology, is Ignatius Ofino. It's good to have you on the agenda this morning.
Good morning, Chike Obogo.
Yeah.
I hope I pronounce your name well.
Yeah, you got it right. The
Wow.
first person that will get that right pronunciation.
Wow, that shows that I deserve a gift.
Yes, you
Wow.
do. It's good to have you. I hope I pronounced that your name very well.
Yes,
Ofino.
Yes, you did.
Okay.
You did.
So it's tit for tat.
Wow.
Ofino.
Obogo.
Okay. Interesting. Let's start at the basics because of our time. Ignatius Ofino is a public analyst and also a public affairs analyst, a political commentator, a political juggernaut. Ignatius Ofino, for our audience who might associate anarchy with street riots or even lawlessness, what exactly is anarchical ideology? Is it the same as anarchism?
There is one thing you must understand, that anarchism is a political philosophy and a movement that seek to abolish all institutions that perpetuate coercion, authority, and hierarchy. That is one thing that is very germane. And when we are talking about the anarchist movement, their aim is to establish what we call a stateless society. But the question to be asked is this: is that possible?
Do we need a stateless society? Do we need one?
You know, there is one thing, when you talk about stateless society, that is the peak of communism. The peak of communism is what? A stateless society. And you know that there is a divide between capitalist bloc and the communist bloc. We live in a bipolar world. So it's an issue. So when you hear the word anarchical ideology in this part of the world, it's something that came to your mind is chaos.
Meanwhile, it is not.
Whereas it is not.
Okay.
It simply means a change. We have to change. There is one thing John Locke said. He said that man is born, or let me use the word, humans are born rational and free, but are shaped by their experiences and what? The environment. Thereby promoting what we call a state nature, whereby there is what we call the natural right, where without harming the right of other people to life, liberty, and property. So man was never born with chains and fetters. Everyone was born free. But now we are being classified into races, regions, religion, states, societies, tribes. That's the world we have come to. But now, when will man going to be free?
Can man be free?
Man need to be free.
Okay.
Because man was born free. There is what we call the free moral agent. It's there in the world. So when we are talking about anarchism, it's not synonymous with chaos. Let me give you an example. Everybody needs freedom and liberty. So when a leader is oppressive, what do? You agitate for change, for liberation. So it can be evolutionary or revolutionary. So when it becomes revolutionary, it can be what we call violent revolution or intellectual revolution. When we are talking about intellectual revolution, we are talking about the need for you to make a choice during voting. And when you are talking about politics itself or election, the scrabble for power, politics itself has what we call moral definitions and immoral definitions as well. The positive side of politics is there. The negative side of politics is also there. So when we are talking about anarchical ideology, an ideology is a firm belief. Do we not have religious ideology too? One of the religious ideology is extremism. You want to die for a religious cause. You want to lose your life for a religious cause. You want to defend a religious cause. So the same thing applies to what we call anarchical what? Ideology. So we want that is a movement and a philosophy that ensures that we have a stateless society where everyone is right, everyone's right to life, liberty and property is not being harmed. Now, we have seen some movement again under anarchical ideology, the one that is being referred to what we call anti-capitalism. Greed is the basis of capitalism. When you are talking about capitalism, you are talking about when private individuals are allowed to control the means of production. But when you are talking about the socialist system, you are talking about the means of production is being controlled by government. Now, but Professor Kenneth Maynard made a statement that the theory that Aristotle established, the invisible hand, that you should allow the forces of demand and supply to determine the market price, that there was need for government intervention. So that is why you see today government even intervening in a capitalist economy. And we can see the underlying theory, the theory of the invisible hand, which Adam Smith postulated, that the forces of demand and supply should determine the market price. But there is one thing you must know about capitalists. Greed is the basis of capitalism. So the tendency is there for private firms to exploit the consumer. So what they normally make is what we call abnormal profit. So when you see somebody with an anarchical ideology trying to oppose, he needs a change. He wants to be liberated without being exploited. To his right to life, property, better service, and what we call liberty.
Oh, now you've explained what anarchical ideology is.
Yes.
And basically putting the record straight. It's not about chaos.
At all.
It's not about violent quarrels or fights or anything. However, it is more of an opposing view to a system. Now, basically, you're saying it is anti-authoritarian, right?
Yes.
At its core,
Yes.
it is anti-authoritarian at its core.
Yes.
So, how does it differ from other ideologies like socialism?
It's different. It's different.
Okay.
There is one thing John Locke said. He said in political philosophy or theory, John Locke refuted the divine right of kings and argued that humans are endowed with natural rights to life, liberty, and property. And those rulers who fail to protect this right may be removed by force if necessary. So when you look at it now, he's trying to tell you that anarchy sometimes is justifiable if you're trying to revolt against an oppressive government. So but when you're talking about socialist ideal, you are talking that the means of production should be controlled by the state or by the government, not by individual. So when we are talking about socialism, socialism believes in what we call equal rights and egalitarian society. But that is not the same in a capitalist system. The capitalist system believes in what we call a class system. Now in Nigeria, when I was born, there used to be the middle class. The middle class has fizzled out naturally now. There is no longer middle class anymore. You are either rich or you belong to the downtrodden. Rhetorically, where do the professors belong now? Our professors. The judges, where do they belong? Can we classify them as being rich or poor? Because for now, the middle class has what? Fizzled out. So why should the blacks oppress the blacks? And when we are talking about the issue of anarchy that has happened, the first that was first recorded was the French Revolution of 1789. The people revolted against King Louis XVI. They wanted what we call economic freedom. They wanted political freedom. That was why France will be credited for being the novel for Republican society. The first republics in France. You have to give it. So that was what promoted other liberation movements in the world. But the government does not want to hear anything anarchy, even protest. If you are trying to organize a peaceful protest in our country, Nigeria today, the government feels that you are trying to instigate civil rebellion. You are trying to revolt. When you are trying to engage the government in constructive criticism, they say you are an anarchist, which is wrong.
Is it that we don't understand this ideology in this climate, in this part of the world, especially in Africa, that many of our leaders or rulers, as it were, sees a revolt, sees an opposing view as being anarchist?
There was a protest vote in this country.
That was